What is going on YouTube? Yo, so I'm Zen back with another YouTube video. It has been an absolute cool minute, really cool minute since I posted a video. Kind of just been doing my working on myself. Um, been training every once in a while, but I've had some training like some from my 9 to 5. I've been having some training, so I've been going into the office for the most part throughout this entire week. So I haven't, kind of just been AFK on a Discord and stuff like that, kind of just revamping. And the calm before the storm, right? We have the big 2-6 coming up, and man, I am trying to go big. I am absolutely trying to go feral with the markets, but for the most part, in terms of trading, I have been working on is my blueprint slash model, which is going to be called the O5 model, right? Now, it's going to be called the O5 just because, for the most part, we're going to be doing our market watching on the 5 minute. Obviously, we're going to be using the higher time frame, right? We're going to be using the 1 hour, 4 hours, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's going to be on the 5 minute that we're going to be watching the market. Again, I'm going to give my specifications and all of that later on. This is literally just going to be me back testing, me, kind of just showcasing it. Again, I'm still working on it. I'm still tweaking it. I'm still, finding the little nicks and knacks about really what works for this model and, the ins and out of it, right? Because this is something, I'm trying to master. And let's be honest, everyone in the training space reduces their own model. It's the same model. Theoretically speaking, everyone uses the same model. They just put it into different words, or they kind of tweak it to their own liking, and then they create their model, right? And then someone picks up that model. If they make it public, they tweak it to their own liking, add on or delete something, and then they add their right. So it's just like an endless cycle. So don't get me wrong, people like you're gonna see this model and you'll be like, oh, this is just blah blah blah. Okay, yeah, but I mean, I took the time to find what I like, what doesn't, what works, what doesn't. So essentially, it's gonna be my model, right? Because it's tweaked to my liking, and then now it's gonna be my turn to kind of just um give it out, right? So yeah, I mean, O5 model, that's going to be. I'm not going to be going into full details on what exactly lies within the O5 model. Stay tuned for that for 2026. But for the most part, in risk for value gaps, right? In risk for value gaps, I've been trading this for quite some time now, and it has been one of the reasons why I have been getting lots of more payouts. Now, don't get me wrong, you just need to take your time with in risk for value gaps. You need to know which one's a higher probability and stuff like that. But yeah, inverse for value gaps is really nice. Now, another thing for this model, very important, is true manipulation. True manipulation. Right. True manipulation. Again, not going to go into full details. Just know true manipulation is going to be very important for this model. Not only that, SMTs, right? SMTs and true manipulation are two very important things. I think this is the actual, kind of the basis framework for this model, to be honest, right? If you have an SMT in this and true manipulation here, oh wait, give me a sec, hold up. Okay, sorry, I had to verify something. So right, numbers for galley gaps, true manipulation, turtle soup, stop hunt, whatever you want to call it. But now there's something very important about this true manipulation. And in order, again, just like everyone says, higher time frame PD array, right? So higher time frame PD array. So this is essentially what the model genuinely consists of. Now, this alone right here, if you have these three, that is a pretty good, decent model here for the O5. I do think this is at least a B plus slash A. If you have an SMT here or a good change in the state or whatever you want to extra confluence you want to add, that's going to be A plus, right? But again, not going to go over kind of the ins and outs of the actual model in this video. Again, I'm still crafting it up. I'm still crafting up the sauce. I want it to be very saucy, but for the most part, this is the framework. And again, called the O5 model just because we're going to be watching the actual markets on the 5 minute for the most part. So let's go ahead and jump into this back testing here. So let's go ahead and go to the New York session here at open. Let me see where it's at. All right, cool. So again, just basic stuff. This is backtesting, so I don't want to keep things that much organized here. Interval. So let's go ahead and look at this. So pretty much have an SMT here. Okay. We have external draw here on both. Let's go ahead and look at the 1 hour. There's some nice draw here. So literally just playing inside the ranges here, buy side, sell side. Just going down, you know, little by little on the what's it called? On the time frame, just looking just to see what we do have going on here. We're currently inside an hourly here, as you can see. So let me go ahead and draw this. Right, currently inside an hourly. Look at the 5 minute. All right, cool. So this is pretty much how we're going to be looking at our framework, right? So literally just chilling on the 5 minute and looking to see what can happen. Now, this model can work from internal range liquidity to external, and then vice versa to external range into internal range, right? Again, just going to be giving a good example about all of that later. So it looks like we're literally just dumping here. Yeah, it looks like we're literally just dumping here. Looks like we're just going to take out this buy side. Okay. So nice, good reaction here. Now the thing with backtesting, just because it's like, it's literally by candles, kind of just have to be careful with what's going on here. We do have a unfilled 5 minute sitting over here. Go ahead and draw this. Yeah, unfilled 5 minute. We do also have an SMT here. So kind of want to be looking for some buys. I don't think we're going to get any. Yeah, so we tapped into this. Nothing here on the 5 minute. I think we actually might just continue. Yeah, again, there's just no trade here on the 5 minute. Okay, and we actually end up getting, we might actually end up going lower. We have some draw here. Some very, very late draw down over here. So pretty much took this draw here. We do have an SMT just to keep that in mind. Do you retrace back into this 5 minute? We already did so. No actual entry here. This is just horrible price action as of now. We're kind of just dumping. Another 5 minute here. ES just took out its low, by the way. No SMT as of now. Again, like this is just not good price action, right? Like this is like a 2 minute here. Like a 2 minute gap. Let's watch on the 1 minute for now. Okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and take this short here, right? Basically a 101 on the 5 minute, good little retracement down over here. This is not really the actual model itself, but again, this does look pretty obvious. So I'm going to go ahead and take this with just one. Let's go ahead and play this. All right, so cool. There's TP, right? So pretty normal trade here. Nothing absolutely crazy. This was in the model. There's no real true manipulation that I see here. No SMT. This is just basically a 5 minute continuation model. So not really anything, but again, this is also why the framework revolves around the 5 minute, and kind of just zoom in backwards. You know how people kind of just watch it on the 1 minute, and then they'll check every time frame like bigger than the 1 minute, so it takes like the 5 minute, 15. Stay on the 5 minute, looking on the 1 minute just to see how candles are going, just to see if you can get more of a sniper precise entry, but you're aligning it with the 5 minute, right? So simple continuation model here. Yeah, this absolutely bleeds. It's currently almost around 8 o'clock. Took two buy sides already. Again, let's just wait and see what happens. So kind of just waiting. We're very high up. Yeah, so price actually ends up bleeding here. Okay. Where are we? Oh wow, we actually just take out a bunch. Take out a bunch. Take out a bunch. Price just took out all of that. I'll go ahead and move this here. Yeah, okay. 5 minute gap here. So kind of just waiting. Yeah, no trade here. Yeah, no trade here. Okay. Okay, so this actually is starting to look pretty decent here. We also have an SMT here. There's also a 15-minute gap, right? As you can see, and pretty much a 5 minute here if you compare these two. Now going into the 1 minute here, and I'm looking to see what happens inside this 1 minute. It looks like we're just going to completely inverse. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue playing. Still active. We still have manipulation. This 5 minute, everything had just pretty much has gone inverse here. I'm thinking, oh, we also just took this. Let me go ahead and just delete this or put it back. Theoretically speaking, I would take a short here just to this low here after inversing this. But I mean, this is pretty bad RR here, so not going to be able to take that. Just looking here to see if we can get like some type of a reversal, which this looks absolutely sick. So we still have that. Swept some liquidity very far. SMT on the higher time frame. Inverse for value gap, right? Does this get inverse though? That's the thing. What I want to know. Now this looks good. We have an untapped 5 minute gap here. I'm gonna go for a one. I'm gonna go for 101 here. So let's go ahead and see this plays out, and then I can pretty much just talk about what this is. We do have an unfilled 5 minute gap right here, so might have to go break even very soon. I kind of want to hold this though, just because we do have some nice built up liquidity here. Is there a higher time frame? Unfilled 5 minute here. We have an unfilled hourly here that has not gotten tapped into. So I'm looking for price to kind of just retrace back into that. But again, just going for a 1-to-1 here. Oh, I forgot to place the trade. Oopsies. Okay, well, I mean, let's go ahead and see this breaks out. Uh, Theoretically speaking, I would go break even already. Just off of this, all these gaps here are pretty much getting inversed. I don't like this. Um, yeah, so it would have stopped this break even, but let's see if this trade actually ends up working. So ends up getting this pretty much chopped, to be honest. But I mean, if you were aiming for one of these, that would have been fine, I guess, right? Anyways, so thought process around this trade right over here. Um, SMT, right? So SMT, we do have some manipulation here. We're bouncing off of a, continuous 5-minute gaps, right? Pretty much bouncing off of these 5-minute gaps, right? We have manipulation here, and going on the 1 minute, we do have another form of manipulation down at these lows, right? And then we inverse this gap period, pretty much good momentum. Now, I was, kind of just waiting to see if we could, retrace back into this draw sitting over here. Now, this is essentially what the model is about, right? We do have the SMT. We're pretty much hanging around in the 5-minute. And the thing about what I like about the 5-minute is, it's just a lot more comforting in terms of seeing the bigger picture of what price wants to do, and allows you to not be too zoomed in. A lot of times on the 1 minute, you're way too zoomed in and you get caught up in some things it doesn't have an actual correlation to the higher time frame. And then, I just feel like looking at it at the 5-minute really sets up the stage, and then, kind of zooming back into the 1 minute to find a potential entry, or maybe taking just a 5-minute inverse for value gap trade would be good, right? But for the most part, here is the model, right? Here we have an SMT. We have, kind of we manipulated these lows here. We actually ended up going lower. Now, I wouldn't say this is true manipulation, just because I want the manipulation to be a turtle soup. And what I mean by actual true manipulation, I think manipulation is best when happening in a higher time frame PD array, such as an hourly or a 15 or a 4 hour or whatever, right? So in terms of this setup, this is, pretty much not the cleanest. It also is 12:45 p.m. So again, not the cleanest in terms of setup, but this is essentially kind of what it is. But this isn't a perfect setup, right? This is not a perfect setup. Again, just because there's no real true manipulation. I want true manipulation to be a stop hunt / turtle soup inside of a higher time frame PD array, right? I want it to be obvious. Plus, there's an SMT here, so kind of that would have made it a little bit more A plus, right? So again, not the smoothest, but I mean, this is, I guess, pretty much the actual what the model what it would look like, right? So let's go ahead, go to the next session, see if we can find a trade. Again, same thing happening over and over again. Let's go ahead and see where we're at the market. A lot of times we get too caught up in just, analyzing what the price wants to do. I think it's very important just to keep it simple. Like, I'm marking these 4 hours. What's the actual percentage of probability of us actually just shooting up to these? I mean, I don't know, but I like to just, generally have them mark here. Pretty much swept this sell side over here. We left some. It looks like we're taking this here as well, which doesn't look that bad. So ES is always doing this though, making those triple highs. In terms of other liquidity, I don't really see much. I see this, and I like to mark both of where the liquidity is in terms of both of these indices, just because they're so heavily correlated, and and SMTs are very important for this, right? So nothing much happening here. Nothing much happening here. Let's go ahead and look at the 5 minutes, see what we got. Okay. Looks like we just swept out this here. And looks like we're just completely dumping. We just swept some sell side. We're rejecting this down over here. This small little 5-minute here. RR here would be skewed for lower prices just because our next actual draw is still really, really far. I mean, we do have these draws down over here, but I'm not really a fan of those draws, to be honest. Not really a good fan, right? Yeah, I don't really like that. I don't really like these. And they're just so low. Look how low they are. They're down over there. Let's go ahead and just see what this is currently just looking like on the 5 minute. We're currently just okay. We have a nice move up to the upside here. I don't think we're actually bouncing out of anything. Oh, we are. So higher time frame PDA right here as well, right? So how do you higher time frame? We do have an SMT with these lows. We do have an SMT with these lows. Looking at the 1 minute here. Big 15-minute gap though that we're currently inside. I realistically I don't want to be longing, but we could go ahead and try this, go for a 1-on-1, and then go into break even here. Just to because I really like this SMT here at these lows. ES kind of already manipulated this, and we kind of have a nice and small little inversion here to the upside with good momentum. So I'm gonna go ahead and be taking this place order. We're just gonna go ahead and do one. Not break even here. Boom. Okay, so nice. So we actually ended up winning this trade here. So again, this is what I mean by true manipulation. True manipulation here. I didn't wait for actual manipulation here just because there's an SMT. Now, if there is an SMT plus a turtle soup here, this would have been absolutely sweet, right? So true manipulation, what I mean by that would actually be, kind of this low turtle soup here, create a wick, taking out all, kind of the slanted engineered lows down over here on the lower time frame, taking that up and then continuing to go higher. An SMT like that would have been nice. But again, we don't have to come and take out this liquidity here because ES already did so, as you can see, right? So we have true manipulation here. We just took out a key level, right, that we marked out, bouncing out of a 4 hour for rally gap, right? So this makes it pretty good. Now, what do we have? We have a nice expansion move to the upside off of this. Now, realistically speaking, this would have been the better ideal setup, right, for our R. We do have this 5 minute here. You can target just this internal here. So pretty much good little internals to target. Now, the reason why I kind of wanted to just take this one here, just because for a better, RR ratio for our 1-to-1, I think it's important. I think this setup or this model is heavy reliant on 1-to-1s. Just take when you can go. Stop being such a sniper, kind of trying to have, crazy RR like this, right? I think it's important to just, kind of just have a 1-to-1. It's perfectly fine, right? And this is good structure here, right? Structure is pretty much our best friend, especially when you're currently just plummeting down to the bottom of the earth in terms of price action. You want structure here. So we do have some nice structure, right? So in terms of our actual framework, right? So SMT, check off. Higher time frame PD array, checks off. We swept some sell side, check off. And risk for value gap here to the upside. And, pretty much coming back. And we do have an hourly for value gap here that has been untapped too. Let's go ahead and see if we actually get in there. I don't know. We're actually gonna get in there. Okay, yeah. So we do actually get him there. This would have basically given us break even here. But yeah, I mean, this is not that bad of a setup, right? I think this ideally would be a B plus setup, right? A plus if I seen some true manipulation here, but again, SMT is perfectly fine. An SMT inside of a higher time frame PDRA pretty much indicates somewhat of a reversal to internal draw, right? As you can see here, this is external to internal, right? Internal being this hourly in the middle of this draw, right? So putting it into perspective, right? Here's buy side, here's this new sell side, right? Or a sell side is this draw that we took out, right? This low here inside of this fair value gap, right? So we took out external. Now we're going to be, price wants to do one of three things, search for a draw, and obviously the draw probably targeting external, um, retracing back to equilibrium, or kind of filling in some gaps, right? One of those three things. And as you can see here, so from external, what are we going to do here? Fill in, go back to internal, fill in this gap, or retrace back into this gap, and then price is going to decide whether we want to inverse this gap and continue higher to buy side, or respect it and then maybe continue lower to seek lower, right? So external from internal, we're currently in internal. Now we're going to wait to see if price wants to go from internal to external, which is this buy side, right? So let's go ahead, just wait and look at this 5 minute here. Let me go ahead and delete this. So hourly did just get retraced back into, looks like ES is slowly starting to retrace back into it. I'm gonna go ahead and just do this here. Again, just watching on the 5 minute just to see what happens. Buy side is very far, and it's currently, yeah, it's very late. Okay, well, let's go to the next day, New York session. All right, so currently 6:25 here. Let's go ahead and see what we have. Go ahead and remove drawings. All right, nice. So pretty much same procedure. Kind of just just jotting down what I see here and making sure I'm marking it on both NQ and ES on the respective ones here, right? So hourly here, we had already swept this down over here. Now these lows, again, these lows kind of just look very ugly here. But in terms of ES, though, I feel like we might get a pretty decent reaction if we were to go through here. But for the most part, most importantly, we do have draw closer to us, right? So we do have this. We do have this. Let's go ahead and look at the 5 minutes, see what we got here. Instantly just wicked out of this 5 minute here. Looks like we could be getting some internal to external draw here. Looking at this 1 minute, I don't want to take this though, just because this is literally a couple minutes, and it looks like ES also just SMT'd us right over here. So I mean, this is not gonna be. But let's wait. Let's go ahead and wait and see what happens. SMT here, right? So we do have this SMT. Just pretty much swept that, swept that. I like this reaction here, though. I do think we might want to see higher prices. I do think we might want to see higher prices here. So I'm going to take this. This is not my actual model, but this is something that I just like here. So boom, there's TP. Why is it not? Nice. So pretty much this is kind of just discretionary trading. Pretty simple here though. I mean, SMT here, 5 minute here. And again, this is why I like to use, kind of just view the market on the 5 minute as of now, relating or using this model, just because, it kind of just helps you visualize and not be fully zoomed in. So let's go ahead and look at the 1 minute and see what happens. So 1 minute, again, just pretty horrible price action here. Now some people would have taken this, but you have to remember SMT here, right? SMT here, good sign of indication. a good sign of manipulation here, or a reason why we don't need to see manipulation to these lows, right? Because ES already manipulated that. Now, and let's go ahead and look at the 2 minute here. Nothing happening. On the 3 minute, pretty much respecting this order block over here, right? Again, if you want to be a ideal sniper, you could have done something like this, right? But for the most part, the trade is actually happening here on the 5 minute, right? So pretty nice trade here. Again, just kind of just discretion, not really actual trading model. We're not really bouncing off of anything. There's no higher time frame PD array here. Yeah, there's really nothing. Kind of just, yeah. So let's go ahead and what time is this? Is this currently 6:50? Okay, so we took a trade here. Normally I'd be done for the day, but let's go ahead and see. We do have another SMT as of now. Kind of like these highs here. Kind of has some nice generated highs here. So just viewing here on the 5 minute. Inversing this 5 minute here. Currently inside an hourly here. I kind of want to see if we inverse this 5 minute. 5 minute did get inverse. We have an unfilled 5. Okay. Yeah. We did manipulate this down on top as well. Whoa. Yeah, so big SMT as of now inside an hourly gap. We have manipulation. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and take this short off the 5 minute here. We're going to go to target this. Now we do have an unfilled 15 minute gap here. So this is going to be a point of break even for us at this 15 minute. So let's go ahead and take this 15 minute here. Stop loss. Pretty much keep it up here. Let's go ahead and play this. Oh, whoa. 5 minute. So here's break even. 15 minute gap. I'm looking to see if we can just continue to rip lower. Unfortunate. Oh, there's an SMT. I wasn't paying attention to that. Oopsies. Anyways, so yeah. Well, I mean, right. Here's an SMT here. Again, earlier I just told you guys what the SMT basically means inside of this model. I mean, there's no reason for us to manipulate this low, right? SMT is basically a divergence between two of the indices. So, ES manipulating the low and taking out the low before NQ doing is enough to move the market to the upside. So pretty much in a real trade, if I was managing it better, kind of just watching, pretty much would have taken most of my profits here, but we actually ended up getting stopped out here. But yeah, but I mean, this is the model. I think this is a good example of what the O5 model really means, right? We're looking at the 5 minute. We're staying at the 5 minute. What do we have here? I'm going to go ahead and delete everything, kind of just rerun everything for you guys, right? In a nicer matter, right? So, or in a cleaner matter, right? So, hourly for value gap. So that's check one, right? Higher time frame PD array. We're going on the 5 minute. What do we see? I initially had this buy side marked out. We manipulated this buy side, right? So buy side taken. This is good. This is good. Go ahead, look at the 1 minute, or go ahead, look at the 5 minute here, right? We just turtle souped all of this right over here. We just kept wicking, right? So here is your manipulation. Here is your manipulation. Let me go ahead and look at the 1 hour. Yeah. So here is your manipulation here happening. Right here. It's kind of small, but I mean, here's your manipulation happening. What do I see on the 5 minute? I see a inverse for value gap. What did I do? I went inside the 1 minute to see basically what was happening inside this inverse for value gap. We pretty much came back, retraced back into the inverse. as you can see here, and then we proceeded to continue to go lower. What did we do? Basically, we retraced back into this 15-minute, right? Came back, retraced back into this 15-minute. Well, I don't know what price is currently going to do now, but we actually ended up, I was looking to take out this low down over here, but we actually ended up forming an SMT at this low just because of ES already taking it. So that pretty much gives us break even. So this is the model. This is a clear representation of the model. Unfortunately, I just wasn't managing it correctly. I pretty much would have scaled most of the position out as soon as I see there's an SMT here, right? We pretty much look at this. We swept all of these lows down over here, right? Oh, I forgot also to mention there is an SMT, right? Right. So this is NQ. We took it out. Look at ES. ES has failed to do so. So this is the model, right? This is an A++ model that we got while watching the chart on the 5-minute, right? Hourly for Valley Gap here, higher time frame PD array, swept the liquidity. We have true manipulation happening inside of the PD array, right? Which is the hourly time frame, true manipulation happening inside this PD array. On top of that, we have an SMT here, good indication of a reversal. Now, what I ideally would be external draw, but also for the most part, if we have unfilled gaps, that is a good price on the target, right? All of this, and I was kind of just looking at the 5-minute, and I was working my way backwards, kind of looking at the 1-minute just to see what was happening. But again, what I like so much about O5 is just that I'm not too zoomed in. Essentially, if you're on the 1-minute and you're inside over here trading all of this, when we're kind of just chopping, the 5-minute is going to tell you, right? If you see these 4 candles on the 5-minute, you're going to be, saved from trading and chop. Do you get what I'm saying? You're going to be saved from trading and chop. And a lot of times, choppy, coming from a, being a trader, getting caught in chop, trading inverse for valley gaps is 100% low probability, and you're just getting faked out all your inverses, and they just completely suck, right? So O5 allows you to, kind of just stand back a little bit and see the markets from a little bit of a higher time frame, and not being a little bit too zoomed in, and not being, too caught up in what you're seeing on the 1-minute. When in reality, it's the higher time frame that kind of actually moves the market. So that's why, I'm kind of just jotting all my buy side and sell side, starting from the 4-hour, going to the 1-hour, going to like the 15-minute, and going to the 5-minute, and so on and so forth, right? So that's that, and it's currently 7:35. Let me go ahead and delete all of this here. We inverse this 15-minute too, though, but this is SMT at the lows here. I actually like this. I actually like this 5-minute inversion here to this high. I kind of want to see us go higher, to be honest, and then take this out. Yeah, I actually like this on the 5-minute here. I kind of want to see this I kind of want to see this hourly get ran here as well, just off of this SMT. This hourly doesn't really mean anything as of now, just because we already had the manipulation move to the upside, to the downside here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this, not the actual model. This is, again, just inverse for value gap trading. So there is break even. Oh, what's going on? Oh wait, this one. Okay, yeah, break even here. I'm gonna be holding for external draw. There is external draw. Nice. Cool. Now, realistically speaking, this is just an inverse for value gap model, but again, this is a good trade. And let's go ahead and break it down why. SMT at the lows, right? SMT at these lows. ES already took them out. Okay, what are we doing? We're, there's a chance of a possibly a reversal. Now you're like, oh, what about this hourly for rally gap? This hourly for rally gap does not mean anything. And the reason being why is because we're confirming order flow on the 5-minute. Seeing this reaction out of this SMT on the 5-minute, seeing this 5-minute inversion right over here with solid good momentum is enough for me to take a trade to the upside and, want to see this get invalidated. And we do also have a nice buy side sitting at right over here. Now, again, if you wanted to be somewhat of a sniper, as soon as you see this, you're like, oh, this RR is a little bit too skewed for me. You could drop down on the 1-minute. What did we do? Price rebalanced here, and then we continued higher, right? So if you wanted to play the retracement, you could have entered something like this and, kind of had your stop loss just a little bit under and then aim for external draw. You get what I'm saying here? And, you could have been like, oh, yeah, there's a 1-minute change as a state of delivery here as well, just for a little bit extra confluence and stuff like that. Now, I mean, this is a good trade. This is a decent, just a regular schmegular buy model trade. But again, 05 is a model that uses inverses, SMTs, all while being on the framework and blueprint of the 5-minute. We're utilizing the 5-minute to confirm order flow, to confirm, kind of market conditions and etc. for us to continue to take a trade. And, we work backwards from the 5-minute to the 1-minute to see what is actually happening, right? So again, pretty decent, 2 good trades here. Really solid. So let's go ahead, go to next session. Oh, wait, wrong one. Next New York session, remove drawings. So same thing over again. Dude, I need a drink. Also, one of the things we need to remember is, theoretically speaking, every model works. But if you haven't built up enough discretion for your trading, it might be a little bit doomed, right? Because if you find a model and it's not lining up to your liking perfectly or whatever, or you're just lost and you need to build discretion. I think discretion is 100% one of the factors that does make a trader a good trader. And obviously I'm not saying like, oh, my discretion is the best, but I'm saying it's important to build up the discretion. You can see a model and you'll end up getting stopped out is just because you're not really, there's no discretion, right? You're on the wrong side of the market. Again, and all of that is followed by just more screen time, right? We need screen time, being on the right market, having the draws of liquidity and stuff like that, right? So again, what makes this blueprint such somewhat of a easy thing to use is just so friendly. Like, I'm marking out my highs and lows. Again, like, I really like these. I really like how these lows are kind of just slanted here. I'm marking them out on ES, making it simple. I'm seeing that we're bouncing off of a hourly for value gap here. I don't really see much. We do have some lows sitting down over here, but this is really far. Yeah, these are the same lows from earlier. I'm not really liking those. On the hourly, kind of the same thing. We do have some lows sitting down over here that look not so bad, right? So again, like, I'm not overcomplicating trading. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm currently just marking out my draws on every time frame, going little by little, making sure I'm marking them down on ES, and I'm kind of just realizing what's happening on the markets here, right? There's this currently inside a 4-hour for rally gap, right? This is going to be an hourly, and this is most likely going to be a 30-minute. Time is fractal. You just keep going lower and lower, and there's just going to be smaller gaps, right? So again, just waiting to see what is happening here. Here is the 5 minute. Here is a 5 minute gap here. Here's a 5 minute gap here. And we might actually see, we do have an SMT as of now. Manipulated this. No real actual entry off of this though. Let's go and see what happens here. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's fun, right? Okay. So if there was an inverse for Rally Gap here, this would have been a good trade. This would have been and pretty much A to A plus trade, just going to the upside here. And you're like, oh, but we're inside a hourly for Valley Gap. Just because we're in an hourly for Valley Gap does not mean, it doesn't mean anything. It's just something to note. But the reason why I like looking at the 5 minute framework is because the 5 minute is just so closely aligned to closer to the higher time frame to where you can actually see. Now, if you pair the higher time frame or just pair the 5 minute and you see the 5 minute model, right? The 5 minute model, time is fractal. But the thing is though, it's easier to see on the 5 minute and then going into the 1 minute just to see how it looks, right? It's important to see the candles on the 5 minute and kind of visualize how they're going to look on the 1 minute, right? So here on the 5 minute, we have a 5 minute for Valley Gap here. We have manipulation and we have an S&T. Again, this is true manipulation here. Now, unfortunately, we don't have an actual entry point here. I mean, I could have entered off of a change in the state of delivery here, to be honest. But for the most part, I like to enter off inversions, and there's no actual real inversion sitting here. So unfortunately, there's no trade, but here is the draw, and both actually end up taking it, right? So again, not so bad, right? And you're like, oh, but like, again, you're longing when we just tapped into an hourly. But again, you also have to remember, you also just swept some lows, right? At that point, you're thinking way too much about it, right? At that point, you're thinking way too much about it, and you're supposed to follow what you know, follow order flow. At this point in time, order flow is telling me this 5 minute here is holding. How am I going to know it's holding? We have true manipulation. Look at this. Look at this. This is turtle soup here. This is turtle soup. We wicked, never actually closed here. This is good stop hunt movement happening at these lows down over here. This is good stop hunt stuff right over here. Oops, this is shitty drawings. Good stop hunt stuff happening here. We have an SMT here. This is true manipulation happening inside a for Valley Gap here. So I don't care about this hourly. I don't care about, oh, we're coming from an hourly here. I'm going to be looking for shorts. I most likely would have been looking for shorts if this 5 minute for Valley Gap here has gone inverse, and I'd probably take this 5 minute to this low down over here. Who knows, right? But I mean, we have some nice engineered here, right? We also have a nice break-even point sitting over here for, right? So we have some structure here resting, and we also had, kind of just LR here as well, right? We just have a bunch of variations. But again, what I like about this is the 5 minute is the 5 minute. 5 minute has made trading or using this model just a little bit better, right? We're utilizing the 5 minute. If this had decided to chop here, it would be a little bit easier to tell. But I like this manipulation here. If this had gone just a little bit more sideways, it's pretty much easier to tell. Like, let me go show you an example. Like, look at this. This is ugly. I think this was the example I had showed you guys. Like, look at this. I mean, this is okay price action here, but look at this right over here. This is ugly as well. You go ahead, look at the 1 minute. You're like, oh wait, that looks like decent price action. Bro, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you're trading this, literally stop trading. Like, this is not good price action you should be trading in, right? But the 5 minute allows you to see, a better framework of the actual model being played compared to, you being too zoomed in. So again, I like, this is something that I've been implementing into my trading, is using the 5 model as the actual framework, and then reverting back to the 1 minute just to see, what's actually happening, just to see it, uh, just to zoom in a little bit, right? So we're looking at the actual basis and then zooming in instead of being zoomed in and then looking at the higher time frame to see if it aligns, right? Me personally, I do think the 5 minute aligns better. I do know there's time frame alignment when they're like, oh, the 4 hour lines up with the 15 and the hour lines up with the 5 or something like that, right? So this has somewhat of a correlation with higher time frame alignment, but to be honest, time is fractal, right? But the thing is, though, I feel a lot more confident. This is important. This is important to everyone's trading, whether you're more of a discretionary trader or, a system mechanical trader. You need to be confident and you need to feel safe while looking at the markets, and finding your navigating your way through the markets, and being and using the 5 minute as your framework has enabled me to feel a little bit more comfortable while sitting down for sessions during the 5 minute, um while being on the 5 minute, right? Trading is The thing about trading is that you need to find out what works best for you. What works best for you. And this is what I have found that works best for me. And again, I'm still currently back testing. I'm still currently trying to find the little things that work and don't work. Um, but I mean, as of now, let's go ahead. This video is about to be an hour long. Let's go ahead and look at the current win rate for this. This is 83%. I was back testing this the other day as well, as you can see here. So I'm gonna go ahead, views session. Is it this one? 80% win rate on this. And then currently for hours right here. Oh, oops. 100% win rate, pretty much 5 trades taken. And oh, we took we took 4 trades on Thursday. Oh, what the? I thought we were like, oh wait, what's happening? I guess we took 4 trades. By the way, I haven't scaled out. By the way, I haven't like taken profits or anything. I've been kind of just been holding either break even or full take profits. So basically 5 trades. Um, that's kind of weird. I didn't even realize that, but yeah, I mean, you get the gist, right? Again, this is all just a framework slash, kind of a way for you to see the markets, for you to approach the markets, is by using the 5 minute as the actual framework. And the actual model, obviously you can trade 5 minute inversions paired with like SMTs or something like that, like I did in some of the trades, or you can trade the actual system mechanical model that's less discretionary. You wait for true manipulation. And what by that I mean true manipulation being an SMT slash stop hunt slash turtle soup happening inside of a higher time frame, sweeping some liquidity, and then, potentially going from external to internal or from internal to external, right? Again, you might be like, oh, this is reuse, recycle from some other model that you've seen on YouTube. Let's keep it a buck 50. Every model is pretty much the same. Everyone trades the same. Everyone just changes a little bit and throws something on. And, I'm finding little things that I like, and I'm implementing, inverse for value gaps with certain things, and then I'm implementing just using the 5 minute alone as the actual framework for it to be my own model, right? And yeah, I mean, this is currently, again, just literally in the works. Really nice. It's really nice. I've been getting some decent results for it. Now, in terms of trading, let me go ahead and just to see if we could find anything on the 5 minute here. So I actually did take a trade here. Pretty much when I did take a trade here. This is just a 5 minute inversion here, right? As you can see, 5 minute inversion here. But again, I'm longing into, these 5 minute for value gaps here. Um, so I pretty much took most of my profits out. Um, but yeah, so I took this trade. But I mean, for the morning, we're just falling to the face of the earth. Nothing really much happening here. Um, on the 1 minute, again, nothing pretty much. Like, this is just chop here. Like, look at this. Like, if you're caught up in this and you're trading inverse, you would have been like, damn, I got cooked in this. Look at the 5 minute. Again, this is why I like the 5 minute. Using the 5 minute as such a, as your framework, as your, as your basis here. Because I mean, this is just chop, right? People on the 1 minute trading this getting cooked when I'm just relaxing and looking at it, right? Again, so here's your 5 minute. I mean, here is your change in the state as you will as well. 5 minute for value gap here. Again, I'm waiting for structure to be formed just because, we have some gaps here. We actually up ending coming back into this 1 minute, 5 minute for value gap here. Now there's no SMT here. There's no SMT. There's no manipulation. There's no nothing here. This is just simply a retracement back, as you can see here. But using the 5 minute as a framework. Now, see, here is a 5 minute inversion here. I entered, and pretty much this was the trade. But again, if you are on the 5 minute and you go on the 1 minute and you're like, damn, I really like this. I really like this right here. This might be my edge. This might be my perfect time to strike. I do have a pretty fast break even point right over here. You would have not gotten stopped at break even. You could have put your stop loss here and then target this internal here for 62 points, right? You could have found this trade and avoided all this chop and avoided taking unnecessary losses by simply using the 5 minute as your actual framework, right? Right. There's no actual true like actual model being presented here, but in terms of, a regular model here is nice, right? Like this is no like O5 model where I'm saying there, there's an SMT, there's a true manipulation, there's a turtle super and any of that. This is simply a 5 minute, a simple model, right? Retracing back into the 5 minute, we create an expansion candle offering fair value, retrace back into the expansion candle offering fair value, and then proceeded to continue to go higher, right? Basic model, but all being done by using the 5 minute as an actual framework, right? Saving my time of not trading this chop, not taking unnecessary loss before, actually catching a nice win and then ending the day with break even, right? So again, it's just yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for this video. Kind of just wanted to introduce the O5, right? It's a framework. But it's also a model, right? That allows you to just, be allows you to just be a little bit more relaxed and allows you to be a little bit more comfortable while trading and not overdoing it. Less is more in trading. I can promise you, less is more. Because if you start doing a little bit too much, you're gonna get over your head, and you're gonna slowly start to forget certain things. And I think it's important to actually have a system and have a framework. And this is what O5 is. We keep it. O5 is simple. You literally just saw me do everything. I went from the 4 hour to the 1 hour, just drawing potential draws of liquidity, and then using the 5 minute as an actual framework, right? Are we respecting any 5 minute gaps? Are we respecting any of this? If there are any SMTs or any all of that, right? While being on the 5 minute and then potentially going into the 1 minute, right? Instead of being on the 1 minute and then going into the 5 minute, right? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully, I'm gonna just continue to backtest the O5 model, find what works, find the little things that don't work and stuff like that, and then continue to tweak it so I can, actually craft like a PDF, start doing some lessons, start doing some teaching. This is just regular trading. You can use the O5, the methodology of just being on the 5 minute and trading 5 minute change of the states or whatever, or being on the 5 minute and then going into the 1 minute and catching a 1 minute change in the state again, but all while using the O5 framework of just being on the 5 minute, right? And then obviously some of us might trade the same with inversions. Some of us wait for, turtle soup, SMTs, and higher time frame PDRA, or right, or some of us trade continuations into external. So from IRL to external, or as soon as external draw is taken, that's your point of your point of interest, and you start to look for a trade to internal. So that would be external to internal. Again, O5 works for both, right? That's what I like about, again, looking at the 5 minute. It allows us to see current order flow, right? So this is current order flow. As you can see, 5 minute for value gap here. We're respecting this, and then we disrespect bearish gaps. So current order flow for me at this point is looking bullish, right? But I mean, we do have some gaps here, which is pretty unfortunate. But again, for the most part, I mean, this was a winning trade, right? This is all I needed. The RR, or the price action, was a little bit crazy today in terms of, volatility and points. So again, this was more than enough, right? And yeah, really hope you guys enjoy this video. Try looking at the model. Try using the 5 minute as your framework. Please stay tuned. 2026, man, I'm trying to run it up. I'm gonna go absolutely crazy in 2026. It's gonna be legendary. All right, man. I'll catch y'all. Peace.